Hi, I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles. And this is
Bar Talking
Bar. Your access to the heartbeat of New York City's bar and hospitality scene.
Hosted straight from the city that never sleeps, we sit down with bartenders, brands and ambassadors, hospitality pros, and cocktail lovers.
Whether it's the art of bartending, the hustle behind hospitality, or the wildest bar tales, expect raw conversations and industry secrets.
Listen to the people who pour your favorite cocktails and keep the nightlife alive.
If you love bars, spirits, and the stories that bring them to life, follow us, share, and subscribe to keep the conversations flowing.
The podcast that you didn't know you need.
New episodes weekly. Welcome back to another episode of
Bar Talking Bar.
My name is Nuri Robles.
And I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And today we have another episode. Thank you so much for watching us, listening us whenever you get your podcast. And today we have a special guest. Like everyone is a special guest.
So we are lucky enough to catch you here in New York. But let's please welcome Thomas Yeo out from Canada. Let's go.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
So we were lucky enough to meet you recently at Bar Madonna. You were doing a pop-up with the name of the bar you were coming from.
Yeah, it's Atwater Cocktail Club in Montreal.
All right. So we recently met you. Some of the audience probably know you already, but for whoever doesn't know you, you please introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as they said, my name's Thomas Yeo. I'm the beverage director of the Barroco Group in Montreal and also the owner-operator of Bon Délire, our latest bar. I've been bartending for, I don't know, decade or so now. Been with the Barroco Group for 7 years today, actually. I got a notification on my phone this morning that it's been 7 years today. Thank you very much. Yeah, and it just sort of fell into it. I was studying, started bartending to pay tuition, essentially, and then gradually started going to class less and less and started spending more and more time behind the bar. Fell in love with it, and yeah, it's what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah, no, and you know, like we've been hearing a little bit of what's happening out there in Canada for us who live in New York, and for all of those folks who are listening in South America also who haven't been to Canada. The last things I heard from Canada was like the festive events what happened there. Mm-hmm. We want to hear like your perspective from Canada, like.
Yeah, so 50 Best is going to be in Vancouver this year, so that'll be really exciting. It's a very big country, so Vancouver to Montreal is like it would take you 4 or 5 days to drive from.
What?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, like it is far.
In my head, it was like, I just take the train and the subway.
Like the closest big city to me would be Toronto, and that's a 6-hour drive. Okay. So yeah, the distances are long, but the population's not huge, so it's a tight community. So like, I know a lot of the people who run the top bars in Vancouver or Toronto because we're all pretty close since it's a fairly small population. Obviously, the scene being a smaller market is influenced by the States and what's going on here a lot. So coming up, really looked up to a lot of the bars in New York. So it's really cool to be here and get to like spend time in some of those spaces and meet the people that I've looked up to. We had a crazy dinner at Crown Shy the other night that like there was 3 people at the table who like I had their books coming up and like really looked up to them. So it's very cool. It's like a little intimidating, but very, very cool to get to kind of be in the same room and chatting with those people and realizing that they're just people.
Just people like everyone else, like us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, in this podcast, we also like to know like a little bit more about the bartender. How do you came out to be a bartender? And like if you begin as, back at the house, front of the house, and then when this love of bartending came along.
Yeah, so I maybe exaggerated a little bit on my resume to get my first bartending job.
As we all did.
Yeah, I had met a friend who was working at a restaurant in Ottawa, And she mentioned they were looking for somebody, so I went in and I inflated my experience somewhat. And the owner actually caught me immediately. He asked me like 3 questions. He's like, "Yeah, that resume is not real." But
it wasn't ChatGPT though, because
no, it was well before ChatGPT. But he needed his patio built, so it was the spring, and all of his patio furniture needed to get put together. And he was like, "Well, if you'll build all the patio furniture for me, we'll train you and we'll give you a job anyway." So that's sort of exactly. So I spent a week building all the patio furniture, and then I got my start there. Nothing fancy, just like a little Italian spot kind of thing. So I worked there for a year or so while going to school. And then I actually did the last semester of my undergrad in South Africa. I spent some time traveling around the world a little bit. And then moved out to the east coast of Canada, a city called Halifax, to do a master's degree. But again, found a bar job to kind of pay tuition, and just over time gradually kind of fell out of love with what I was studying and fell in love with the hospitality industry and the creativity of bartending. I was working with a really creative chef at the time, and we had a cool bar where the kitchen pass kind of extended directly onto the bar. So the bartender was right next to the chef, and you got to kind of collaborate and see what they were doing. And at the same time, like Chef's Table was coming out, and there was all these like food things that like the culinary scene and the bar scene was like really in the kind of cultural zeitgeist at the time. And I just fell in love with it. And then kind of came up through the World Class program. Lauren Moat and some of the other sort of previous Canadian winners came and did a seminar in Halifax, and I'd only been bartending full time for 6 months maybe at that point. But I remember having a chat with her, and she's like, "What do you got to lose?" Like their saying was always, "One drink could change your life." Like, throw your hat in the ring. Why not? So I did, and I actually made it to the regionals, and I just did a bunch of like crazy stuff that I would never do now. Like I did a 11-minute milk punch in 6 minutes for one of the challenges. And I had never practiced it before doing it in front of the judges, but it worked, and I made it to the nationals, and I was like, yeah! And I thought I was hot shit, and then I got to the nationals and got crushed. But it just like reignited that, like, okay, cool, I've got so much more to learn. I saw what everybody else was doing, and it was just like massive motivation.
Yeah, and also you came this far with like the knowledge that you had at that time.
Yeah.
And of course, when you go to college, you go, for education purposes.
Yeah.
But when you start working behind the bar, you start, like we always say, with the guys who have been here before, grab the bottle, learn what the bottle is all about, learn what the combo comes from, what it is all made about, taste it probably. And then when you come behind these competitions, you already kind of like know what to put together. Like your imagination can just go beyond. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There's no rule or law that says this is how it's done.
For sure. And my style has never been to be like a super technical bartender. I love stories, and I love telling stories. I was a history major and then a business major, and then I studied international development studies. So like I bounced around a lot, and I love learning a little bit about a lot of things. And I find that works really well for being behind the bar, because you're able to talk to your guests about a broad range of subjects, and you're able to take inspiration from lots of different things. So yeah, the story element was always key for me.
Yeah, and that's important, especially us as bartenders. We are storytellers. You know, we say, oh, hey, you grab the newspaper in the morning, you see what's happening there, just for the fact to know and have a small conversation and like an icebreaker. But of course, yeah, you have to come up with your own story, or if you're talking about just certain ingredients about this cocktail, why you name it, what the references are on the cocktail. And in competitions, what I find out more often is that when you put together something, it has to make sense for what you are using at the moment, and the story that you're going to tell to the judges.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it has to like interact with them and with the audience, but it has to mean something. It has to come from somewhere. Yeah, what do you say?
No, I was gonna say also, like, there is a period of times like you go to like this trend of like putting names, and then you go to the bars and they have like crazy names that is like, first of all, like I don't want to ask like for 3 minutes, can I have 6 words of cocktail, right? But
I'm so guilty of that. I love long, elaborate cocktail names.
It is like maybe I don't even, because I'm a short person, so sometimes it's like, hey, can I have these? But that's cool. Like I feel like that's one of the things that I also fall in love with the industry, because you go and put I want to make a mezcal drink, right? But then you want to tell a story about it and are like memories of yourself or someone that inspire you. And, you create certain flavors and profiles that people start like knowing you because of that. And I think you have also like people that recognize you now because you were this person who was like putting these big names, but also big, cool drinks.
Yeah, well, and also you work with people who rein in your worst impulses, right? So if I want to name something like 10 words, Kate, for example, who I'm here doing the pop-up with, she'll be like, you dial it back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's important to collaborate and you end up with a better end result because you kind of temper each other's impulses.
Yeah, and it's important also to say that, working as a one person, because, as a bartender, you have one idea. But also, with your coworkers or having a feedback from somebody else, it helps you grow in the sense that, my palate might not be the same palate as the others. That's why it's very important to, hey, can you taste my cocktail? See what exactly. Kind of fix, I know sometimes it's hard for somebody to say, hey, this is my cocktail. Can you give it a taste? And then when you hear something, you're like, but this is what I wanted, this is what I wanted, like this was my idea. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they kind of redirect you, like, hey, yes, but this might work, or you can add a little bit, whatever,
Yeah, well, it was great. So I sort of came up bartending in Halifax before moving back to Montreal, and it was a great scene to start in because it's quite a small market, but all the bartenders know each other and they're really, really supportive of each other. And there was a couple kind of OG bartenders in the scene who had gone to New York and gone to Vancouver and like bigger cities and kind of gotten trained there before coming back to Halifax and opening their own spots or starting their own programs. And a couple of them started a thing called Monday Schools. So the last Monday of every month, they would invite all the bartenders to like this back room at the local liquor store and give a brief seminar on a category. So like, let's say this month we're doing gin. They'd give a little lecture essentially on the history of the spirit, production methods, a few little details about the style, and then a cocktail example. And then we would all just kind of talk about it. So it was an amazing opportunity to get everybody together and learn from each other. And then once that started to progress a little bit, they started comp school. So every second Monday of the month, you'd basically pull one of the previous spirits that we'd covered in Monday school out of a hat. And then you'd pick like 3-4 people to stand up and present a competition-style cocktail based on that spirit, and then you get feedback from everybody else in the room. So, like, in the span of 2-3 years, it really put Halifax on the map as, like, punching well above its weight in Canada. The first year that I did World Class, I think 4 of the 10 national finalists were from Halifax, which is this tiny little city. And, yeah, just having that community really, really helped everybody grow a lot faster than they would have on their own.
Yeah, and that's where, again, I think I have to underline that information and education is very important because it could take you places that you can never imagine.
Exactly.
And, the community to talk about, like this circle that you're surrounded with, like, one of them is going to that place. You want to go to that place.
Exactly.
You want to be part of it because you're part of it. Why not?
Yeah, and also like here, I guess, also in Canada, like hospitality community is very like helpful with each other because sometimes it's about cocktails, but sometimes it's about a job, or sometimes it's about like something that you need for your bar, and people is always like willing to help you because also they will need something eventually, but they want to support each other, I guess. And the other part that we are also doing this podcast is because of that sometimes it's like if you're like a new in the industry and then see you coming from Canada and like doing a pop-up with like all these like people, it's kind of intimidating, right?
It can be, yeah.
And now that we have Thomas, the person is like, oh, that it looks very cool. It looks like very friendly. And then sometimes people is more willing to like approach to have you and ask you something rather than, I don't know, maybe he doesn't want to talk to me,
Oh, I might look scary, but I'm not scary.
Yeah, So obviously you were telling us about this place that you built, the patio furniture, but during or before that, did you ever work as a server or?
Yeah, so in Halifax I worked, actually in that spot in Ottawa, I started as a server, so I built the patio furniture, then I started as a server, and then the bartender got fired for being a little crazy, and I got his job. Then when I first went to Halifax, I started as a server there as well. I always wanted to be a cook, actually.
Oh, really?
I thought like going to culinary school, because I love cooking as like a hobby. But then when I got into bartending, I was never able to justify sort of taking that pay cut to go to the back of house. Tips are just too attractive.
Yeah.
But I've kept cooking as a thing that I love to do on my days off. When I have the time, I'll pick a new recipe of something that I've never made before and go to the market in Montreal and get all the ingredients. And it's like one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, serving, bartending, and then now managing and beverage direction and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of...
How long have you been the beverage director in this place?
A little over a year now. Yeah, so Kate, who I was doing the pop-up with, she was the beverage director for a long time. And then now she's moved into more of a... She's the director of education and strategic partnerships for the group. So she spends a ton of time traveling and doing pop-ups like this. So just in the last few months, she's been down to Mexico City, over to South Africa, here to New York a couple times. And just so much travel made it hard for her to be the day-to-day beverage director.
Yeah.
And then I had opened Bon Délire, the spot that I'm a partner in, and kind of gotten it on its feet and up and running. And sort of realized that I could bring more value to the group and to the younger bartenders coming up in a role as beverage director, doing menu development and doing kind of ongoing mentorship and training for the bar so in Quebec we call head bartenders bar chefs.
Yep.
Not in the sense of a chef, like a food chef, but chef would be like the leader of the team, essentially. Yeah.
The one who has the hat.
Exactly. So I had kind of been through it all, being the head bartender at ACC for years. So my role transitioned into kind of being a resource for them. So if they had a problem that they couldn't solve on their own, they could reach out to me and I could help them find a solution. And that's been really great.
So Barroco Group, they have 6 places, right? One is
so 3 restaurants, 3 bars.
I saw one that is a Trattoria Fugazi.
Exactly.
They came with like the Fugazi punk rock band, or
it's funny, I don't know, but there's definitely a punk rock element to the branding. Yeah. But I to be completely honest, I'm not sure about the origin of the name.
Well, I'm going to look it up. Or you can look it up, guys, and put a comment and tell us the story.
Kate's going to be so disappointed.
No, Kate, don't. No. He just came from pop-ups, maybe, you know.
It opened essentially so I said it's been 7 years that I've been with the group today. It's been pretty much 7 years that Fugazi has been open this week. So they opened right as I was starting with the group. Oh. So I'm just going to use that as my excuse. It predates me.
We'll cover it. We'll cover it. But so Bon Délire, did I pronounce it?
Bon Délire. Yeah.
Bon Délire. What is this place for whoever doesn't know it?
Yeah, so it's in the southwest of the city. We kind of wanted to take what we knew about making great cocktails from Atwater Cocktail and Atwater Cocktail Club and Milky Way, the 2 other cocktail bars in the group, which are much more kind of elevated craft cocktail spots. We wanted to take what we knew about cocktails from those places and do it in a slightly more approachable, more dive kind of setting where you could get a great cocktail. If you want to go in and have a perfect martini, you can. But if you want to just do shots and have a pint, you can do that as well. And nobody's going to turn their nose up at you for your preferences or anything like that. Because we found that at its best, cocktail culture is innovative and creative and passionate and amazing. But at its worst, it can be a little bit intimidating and exclusive and pretentious. And that's at its worst. I'm not saying that it is that, but it can be that. So yeah, we just wanted to create a space where it was all about having fun and you could get a great drink, but that was kind of a bonus. The raison d'etre for the space was more just about bringing fun and silliness and joy back into the whole thing.
Yeah, make it fun what you have in the drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimately, I think that's the goal. Go out, have a good time. And, if you're going to go and you have a preference of drinking, if you want to drink water, that's fine.
Exactly. And to facilitate that, the whole idea behind it was everything was kind of about speed and efficiency of service, so that you wouldn't... our target is 5-minute ticket times. So from the time you walk in the door, you have a drink in your hand in 5 minutes. We've got 12 cocktail taps. So 2/3 of our cocktail menu is all on draft. And we make it all in-house, which is actually really cool because it allows us to use a lot of the sort of waste ingredients from the other businesses in the group. Because obviously if you're doing draft cocktails, you can't use fresh juices in the same way that you would for element cocktails. But we go through so much juice for the other bars that I can then take those spent citrus shells and make oleos and cordials and citrates and use those as the bases for our kegged cocktails. So it kind of closes the loop, brings the cost down a little bit, which allows us to sell our cocktails at a more approachable price point to kind of be an accessible neighborhood spot. And reduces our waste and just brings amazing flavor. Like you're throwing these citrus shells out and so much of the flavor of that fruit is in the peel. So it's just a shame to waste it.
Yeah, and I feel like, talking about sustainability, it's kind of like a good way also, like that's one of the parts, but also like many people, they don't know, like, like young people, they don't know that, we can use the peel for not just to garnish.
But I mean, I think they know a lot more than they did when I was coming up.
Yeah,
it's become a talked about thing in the industry, which I think is a really positive.
And even in social media nowadays, now access is on the tip of your fingers.
Exactly.
So basically, you want to research something. It's easier for you to go on and watch a video or go and get some information from somebody or somewhere.
Exactly.
Back in the day, I remember when I also started working as a bartender, it was really hard for you to get things. You had to read a book.
Yeah, you had to buy people's books and read them. Exactly.
And definitely, like I feel like nowadays, like you said, many young bartenders or young people that try to be in the hospitality, they come very, very well prepared because it's very not just challenging, but also very competitive. That I remember also years back, we need a bar back. So you pull the buzzer and just explain a little bit.
Yeah.
But now the bar back has to have also experience as a bartender because it gets more knowledge to be at the bar.
Yeah, that being said, I actually almost prefer taking barbacks with minimal to no experience because then they don't have any bad habits that they picked up and you can kind of train them the way that you want them to work within your systems. And I'm a big fan of hiring for sort of personality and kind of personality traits. So like if I can tell that you've got a great work ethic, that you're passionate, that you're willing to learn, I'll take that over somebody who maybe doesn't have those characteristics but has a little bit more experience.
It depends too. And also, now essentially the barback is a young bartender because his goal is also to become a bartender, right? But if he's under somebody's wing who is going to like teach him direction and purpose and why to do things the certain way, because everything has a purpose. Yeah. And if you teach them that, then it's better because, when they come out, they're like, we talk about this with other guys also, legacy. Yeah. Use your name and, somebody's also going to be carrying your name and vice versa, like he's going to do it for somebody else because this is kind of like a payback. That's how I see it.
Absolutely.
If you teach me, I'm going to teach somebody because I want them to learn what I know. It's not about, I'm going to hoard everything.
No, exactly.
It's everybody,
exactly.
To collaborate.
No, we don't want to be gatekeepers. We want to pass that knowledge on, right?
Yeah. And that's a good...
And I feel like, when you go to like new places as well, you see that sensation of like, I don't want to be in a place that people, they think they know everything and they are kind of like,
exactly.
So, but it's cool that you have that mentality. And so continue with your story. Like, well, I want to ask you this. Like, before you said that you were at school, and were you like interested in going in cocktail bars? So it was more like, let's have a beer.
Yeah. So I was that guy who would show up at a house party with like a box of sugar cubes and a bottle of bitters and an orange. I'd be like making old fashions in somebody's kitchen. So like I was intrigued by it before working in the industry, but it was more of like just sort of a hobby, I guess. And it was really when I started working at that bar in Halifax with the really creative, talented chef that I sort of saw that I didn't necessarily need to go to culinary school and get into work as a cook to have that same level of creativity and working with flavors. And I'm a very talkative, sort of social kind of person. So the idea of being behind the scenes in the kitchen and not being able to interact with the guests was a little bit, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So bartending just seemed like the best of both worlds. You get to have that craft element, because I love the technical aspect of something, like of learning how to do it well and efficiently and just like perfecting your little techniques. So having that side of it, plus the creativity, plus the social side and the storytelling, it just fit. Everything kind of came together perfectly.
So you mentioned that you have a wife, right? Your wife works in the industry as well?
She doesn't. She used to for a little while, but she works with kids. Yeah,
Okay.
So she's an educational assistant for a school in Ganawage, just across the bridge from Montreal.
And how do you balance that?
Well, it's not so bad now that I'm a beverage director, because I'm not in service as much as I used to be. But when I first moved to Montreal, I was doing a lot of closes because I was junior at Atwater Cocktail Club. I had gotten the job because I had met Kate through World Class, and she got me the interview when I first came to the city. And then I pretty quickly got promoted into a management role, which was nice, but it meant that I was closing like 4 or 5 nights a week. And we were open till 3 a.m., 7 days a week. So when you close at 3, you're out of there by 5:30, 6 in the morning. But it actually worked out okay, because I would finish at 5:30 or 6 in the morning. I'd walk home. I'd make a coffee. She'd get up. I'd give her the coffee. We'd spend like 45 minutes together. She'd go to work. I'd go to bed. And then when I got up, she was getting home from work. We'd have dinner together. And then she'd go to bed and I'd go to work. So we never slept at the same time, but we actually got to spend our time awake together.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it worked out okay. I mean, it's definitely better now, where we can have the evenings together and sleep at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's so cool.
I think one of the parts, and you talk about this very often, the hospitality is the time you put, you have to sacrifice when you cannot be with family. But when there's a time that you can't spend it and actually, take advantage of it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You do have to make an effort, right? It doesn't just happen naturally. You got to prioritize your relationships and your career and find that balance. But if it's important to you, I think you can find a way to make it work.
Yeah, there's always but there's an old saying, it's if there's no time, you make the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you feel when you start going from, I'm a bartender, I'm learning and and then now you're a beverage director,
Yeah, so it's cool because it kind of happened in the same time as becoming a business owner. So now like a lot of what I spend time on and think about isn't just creating a cocktail that tastes good and creates a good experience for the guest, but it's also creating a business that is profitable and sustainable and can pay the employees and kind of continue into the future. Yeah. So it's a whole side of it that I wasn't really as aware of or experienced in before. So it's a whole new challenge and a whole learning experience, which is really cool because, I mean, if you make a great cocktail that tastes good but doesn't make any money, it's not really a great cocktail, right? Like at the end of the day, a bar is a business and it has to, you got to pay the rent and you got to keep the lights on. So learning that side of it has been really cool. And I've always enjoyed creativity within constraints, right? Like if you have a completely blank canvas, it's kind of intimidating and you sometimes you can almost trip over yourself because you've got too much freedom. So I liked competitions because there would be a set of guidelines or rules. And within those guidelines, you could really explore what you were doing. And having to make drinks that fit into sort of cost targets and stuff like that, it's a similar set of constraints where one, it's got to fit within your cost targets. Two, it's got to fit within a high volume service. So like if you make a cool creative drink, but you can't pump out 100 of them in service, or your guests are waiting 25 minutes for their drink, that's not a good drink either.
Exactly.
So there's a lot more to it than just does this taste good, and that part is fun for me to really streamline the systems, especially since I know that our team is fantastic. So if there's a problem with ticket times or consistency or quality, I know it's a systems problem for me to solve and not a staffing problem because I know the staff are good. If we're consistently having a problem, it means that I need to improve the system or the training or.
And we haven't been in Canada, us, but or me.
You're welcome anytime. Please come see us. Yeah.
How you how do you see New York City compared to Canada?
Yeah, well, Montreal's a little unique within Canada because of the French connection. So Quebec's sort of the French-speaking province. Very insistent on that, actually. There's a lot of laws that I may or may not agree with that legislate French as the official language, which I get. It's a French city within a English-speaking country and continent. Mexico's Spanish, obviously, but Canada and the States, and being so close to the States, which is like a massive cultural entity, if we don't protect French, it's not going to last forever. So I get that to a certain extent, but sometimes it's a little bit too much stick and not enough carrot for my personal preferences. That being said, I really do feel like the French side is what makes Montreal special. That joie de vivre that you get with French culture is really present. I tell people all the time that Montreal is a city where people are more concerned with living well than living long. Everybody still eats foie gras and smokes cigarettes and drinks Calvados, and that's how we like it. So yeah, it brings this passion and zest for life that is not missing in other Canadian cities, but it's just it's more central to the identity of Montreal.
So Montreal and Quebec are more Franco-parlant than other states, or is the only?
Yeah, so Quebec is very much primary French-speaking. You do have some French pockets in New Brunswick, which is another province on the east coast of Canada, but it's a different type of French. It's like the Acadian community. That actually historically got expelled down to Louisiana, and that's where Cajun and the French element in Louisiana comes from. But yeah, so Quebec is quite French. Montreal is sort of unique within Quebec, though, in that it's very, very bilingual. It's not actually a great city to learn French in because everybody's so bilingual that as soon as they pick up a little bit of an accent, they'll switch to English because they assume that their English is better than your French. I grew up in Quebec, Anglophone, but I grew up in Quebec, and I've been in Montreal for 7 years now, and I work in French every day, and still people will switch to English all the time when they're talking to me just because my accent's not quite perfect. Yeah.
So wait, do you also speak French?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The only thing I can say is eau de vie.
Eau de vie, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
It's very important.
Oui, chef.
Oui, chef, yeah. Well, you're from the classic sort of brigade system kitchen side, right? So you must know a bunch of French.
I mean, no, honestly, I live in Madison Park. As the good thing is it's funny because now everywhere I go, and instead of saying yes, I say oui. Yeah. And it's oh, come on. Oui, chef. Oui, chef.
I remember also back probably 12, 15 years ago, I used to work also in kitchens. And then, we always had to respond unisound. Everybody, oui, chef.
Yeah.
Yes, chef. Yeah, exactly. And it was everyone, if dates, something came out on the ticket, it's whether a fire or an app, you had to say oui, chef. It doesn't matter. If not your station is oui, chef, you're oui, chef.
Yeah, well, and now that the bear came out, even civilians who don't even work in the hospitality industry are saying it.
Yeah.
So, do you have a preference on a cocktail that you said this is always my way to go?
Yeah, I for a long time now I've sort of had coming into cocktails. That first restaurant that I was telling you about, I had a really great opportunity that they saw that I was passionate, but that I didn't really know what I was doing. So they brought in a couple consultants to kind of work with me for a month and help set up the cocktail program. And they set us up with a tiki program and then kind of handed it off to me. So my introduction to cocktails was very much based around rum and tropical cocktails and pouring over the Smuggler's Cove book. So since then, the daiquiri has been my go-to. I love a daiquiri with a good Haitian rum, a little bit funky, a little bit grassy. I love to reverse dry shake a daiquiri. So you shake it with ice, strain the ice off, and then just whip it as hard as you can so it gets really nice and fluffy.
Yes.
And that's my favorite.
That actually sounds really good.
And I tried the daiquiri, and in Mexico, we don't have the limes that we use here. It's more like I think they're close more like
it's a cross between an orange and the lime.
Okay.
So it's kind of like green skin on the outside, and sometimes it's like orangey in the inside.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about, the lime?
No, I'm talking about the regular green lemons. Because also in Mexico we don't say lemons or lime, we say limones. And
it's same in French.
So, so our green lime, it's el verde limón. It's a little more sweet, and a little bit more like bitter than the limes that we use here. And every time I try a daiquiri here, and they use like a different type of lime, I always remind me, in Mexico, we drink a lot of aguas, like agua de limón.
Okay.
So it's like I think daiquiri like agua de limón con rum, you know?
Yeah,
like,
cool.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's pretty much what it is, because it's limes, sugar, and...
Well, and I think that's the other thing that I love about it, right, is it's kind of the three classic elements of a cocktail in perfect balance.
Yeah.
So you've got your sweet, your strong, and your sugar, and it's perfect in its simplicity, and that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah, and it's funny because, you know, like, it's this role, and for me it was like, why is when I didn't know anything about cocktails, it was like, why are these fuss of like people complaining about like it's just lemon, sugar, and rum.
Yeah.
But then you try different places or different techniques, so some people, they don't know exactly, balance it. And it's like, oh, now I get it. Why?
Yeah, well, the simpler the cocktail, the less you have to hide behind, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's very easy on paper to make a martini or a daiquiri. It's 3 ingredients. If you follow the recipe, it should be fine. But because it's so simple, any little mistake in technique or measurement or anything is going to be painfully obvious.
Yeah.
So it's harder to make a perfect simple cocktail than it is to make a perfect complicated cocktail.
Yeah.
And I feel like in those classics, when people have, let's say, if you have a different rum, white rum from the Dominican Republic versus a white rum from the Barbados, it's going to have similar profiles, but very different at the same time when you have it in a daiquiri.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And the same thing if you have, what else do you say? Martini, you know, if you use a different gin, because there's a vast variety of gins and there's a vast variety of vodkas, however they like it, because
exactly.
Everyone has a preference and a different palate.
Well, I think I'm learning a lot about you. That's what I wanted to bring you here, because I really want to know about you.
Yeah.
And then have you ever done a lot of pop-ups here, or this is your first pop-up here in New York?
This is my first one in New York. I've done a few with the group a few years ago, just before COVID. We did a little Euro tour, so we did Paris, London, Barcelona, Athens, and Milan, which was really incredible. I've done pop-ups at Tales of the Cocktail in New Orleans. I've gotten to do some cool traveling with brands. So I've done like Amaro tours of Italy, and I was in Barbados last year visiting the Stad's distillery with Maison Ferrand. So it's and I sort of tell our young up-and-coming bartenders all the time, like, work hard, be passionate, put yourself out there, talk to people, do things like this. Like, we just met the other night at an event, and I'm in your house doing a pop-up, which is really cool. And if you put yourself out like that, there are opportunities to do really incredible things and travel and meet people in this industry.
Yeah, and that's true. Like, when you are like really eager to learn, right? Because sometimes people, they see the result and they want to be, I want to be like you, right? But they forget that there is a process.
Yeah.
Sometimes the process could be lengthy or painful, right? But it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I guess you're very happy traveling in Italy.
I mean, I would be really happy traveling.
Yeah, well, exactly. Nothing that's worth doing is easy, right?
Yeah.
And also, again, going to the bottle, right? Like, if you have a bottle at the back bar and you grab that one bottle, you learn a little bit of the culture, because now you're going to France, to this country.
Exactly.
And you're learning a little bit of what's going in there, like how people project themselves. And then you're like, oh, so now I understand why the Amaros are Amaros. You know?
Exactly. Well, and we at ACC, one of kind of the defining factors of the program on the back bar there is we have like 850 unique bottles on the back bar. It's a massive spirit selection, and it's too much to expect the staff to know everything about all of those products. But I always tell them you should know at least one thing about each of them, even if it's just where it's from. Like, learn one thing about each of them, and they're all allowed to taste anything. Obviously, if it's the top shelf. I don't want them pouring a 2-ounce pour of it, but anything that we have, I want them to feel comfortable tasting, because if you can't taste it and you can't experience it for yourself, how are you supposed to describe it to guests? So
Exactly.
you guide them, and that's what you're really there for. So
yeah, that's cool. And yeah, like I feel like that's another part, that having good mentors and, you know, knowing that sometimes also people are afraid of touch something because they feel like, oh, what about if they, you know, they say something bad about it?
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble, you know. Like,
yeah.
But when it's education purposes, I think it's right, and it's the right thing to do, to taste and, you know, like you say, talk about it. Or if I have a question, because if I don't know what it is, let's say, for example, Scotch, like, you know, the regions, if you don't know what the regions are, but at least you drinking something, and it was like, what is this? Is it a single? Is it a blend? What is it? You know, like, you don't know. Just ask. And again, go into you, like, wherever you can get your information from and find out a little bit about it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, telling somebody is one thing, but showing them is so much better, right? So if you're having a discussion about Scotch and the different regions, I mean, you can tell them all of that, or give them a sheet with all of that on it. They're not going to absorb it in the same way as if you're like, this is an Isla Scotch, and they taste it and they're like, oh, that's smoky. Okay, that's what that's about. Right?
Yeah. I think that's very important. Were you going to say something big?
I was going to say, so the past days that you've been here, I guess you obviously get the opportunity to try the cocktails. I feel like also lately in New York City, we have a lot of new places and very big names out there. Do you taste something that you feel like, oh my God, this is so cool?
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but I had a cocktail at Overstory the other night with snap pea in it. That was phenomenal. I love snap pea in a cocktail. Yeah. It's just so bright and fresh. I mean, everything I've had has been really, really good. But that was the one that like really stuck out to me. Yeah,
that's so cool.
We'll have to ask Harrison what it was called, but
okay, we can ask Harrison as well. Shout out to Overstory and Harrison also for having these pop-ups and Bar Madonna with Eric.
And Thomas, before we go, we would like to know if you want to send any shout-outs to any people here or in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to send a big thank you to Eric and Ricky at Madonna and Harrison at Overstory for bringing us down, and for all the brands that helped us get us here. So Grey Goose, Perrier, Noilly Prat, Saint Germain, Bombay Sapphire, and Mi Gente Tequila. Thank you so much. Send me somewhere else next.
Yeah, thank you so much for having these pop-ups here in New York. Obviously, Eric from Bar Madonna, Overstory, which are very cool places, and we enjoy it. So please bring more Thomas and more people so we can go and enjoy the drinks, please.
Amazing drinks. Amazing drinks. The beat cocktail was out of the world. That was so good.
I love the what was it called?
The Pink Panther.
The Pink Panther. My favorite thing.
I think that was the hit. We sold that one out real fast.
Yes, I had two of those actually. Thank you.
And shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for having us.
No,
this was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having the time, taking the time to give us the opportunity. And, you know, we love to have you here. And if you're here again, let us know. We can, you know, give you a little tour. And also, you know, like, this is also for people that they want to know more about other places, about the community. And, you know, it's very cool that this industry is, you know, worldwide. Like, we go everywhere. It's like, oh, I work here. And, you know.
We are New York-based, but we are worldwide.
There you go.
Para New York, para el mundo desde Nueva York.
That's right.
Thank you so much. And,
Thank you.
let's see you next time.
Smash that like button.
And we're going to put your socials, but whoever is not watching YouTube, can you tell your socials so people who are listening?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm thomas.b.tending. I thought it was pretty clever because my middle name is Benjamin, so it's my middle initial, but also Thomas B. bartending. I don't know. I feel like it goes over most people's heads. But anyway, thomas.b.tending. And yeah, I'm at Barroco Group in Montreal. Hit me up for pop-ups, podcasts, whatever you need.
If you guys ever make it to Canada, you guys know where to go.
Yes, please. We are 2 hours from New York flying.
Yeah, hour and a half. It's
Yeah.
very close.
You can drive also. It's like 9 hours if you want to spend.
7.
Yeah. All right. I'm just like, because I'm the
just gotta-
person who always buys something, so it takes me a little
Yeah,
longer.
true.
But also you can get through a train. I look it up and it's like also like an
It's
hour.
a beautiful train ride,
Yeah.
too, up through upstate New York into Canada. It's very
that's
nice.
super cool.
That'll
So
be like a nice ride, especially now that it's snowing. It's like I made it side. The views are amazing.
Yeah. It's nice to not be in the snow for a few days. But,
Yes, that's right.
but thankfully here in New York today, and I mean this week it's been like a little not that chill, so I feel it's also good to feel like I can go and run.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I know. I went for a run this morning. It was
Yeah, I
great.
can't believe it. I can't believe you went to run, but
People in Montreal are still running, but they've got like spikes on their shoes and like masks on, and they're running in the snow. I'm not that hardcore.
You know what? Sometimes people think it's Siberia here when it's 40 degrees, but you still can run, you know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm just a little chicken head. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was an absolute blast.
Thank you.
You guys are great.
Thank you. And guys, forever, thank you. And you can follow us on Instagram. You know, you can check all the episodes on our webpage, www.bartalkingtalkingbar.nyc.com. And don't forget to tip your bartenders. And also, you know, we have a donation page to keep supporting our project. Buy my coffee. And
Need a coffee.
please, we need coffee. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your grandma so she can meet Thomas and know about Canada as well.
Hi, Grandma.
And shout out for your wife that she's coming also. But
Yeah, we'll see you in a few days, Kashida.
yeah, shout out. And thank you, Edgar.
Thank you for another day.
See you next
See you
time.
later.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Adios, amigos.
Adios.
Nice. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.